Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia and today is Sunday the 29th of October 2023. I have forgotten how to talk, but we're gonna persevere now because the first 3 attempts just failed completely. Anyways, I'm so glad you're joining me today, whether it's for the first time or maybe you've been coming back for a couple of weeks, months, in some cases even years. I know there are some crazy people out there who have been literally following this podcast for 5, 6, possibly 7 years, which is crazy. So thank you all for being here today. I'm just going to be chatting about yarn, about knitting, and a bit of crochet. So if that's your jam, do settle in. I hope you have some crafty project to work on yourself. And I think I should really quickly talk about what I'm wearing because I always wear the same thing. This is my Shifty sweater by Andrea Mowry. If you're interested, just click back on any of the previous episodes where you can see me wearing this because I keep going over it because I swear I also wear different sweaters, but this one is just easy to live in. It's perfect. It's British wool, so it's really nice and warm, but it's also light because it's fingering weight. I think the sort of slip stitch texture, it's not like a double knit fabric, but it does sort of give additional warmth, and it's just perfect. I just live in this. So that's what I'm wearing. And I have one finished object which has been worn, so be warned, it's not pristine anymore, but I did just, out of the chaos that is my son's room, drag out these socks. These are my only finished object for the past 2 weeks. I knit my 3-year-old son some socks, and I talked about them in detail last week as well, so I'll try not to repeat myself too much. But essentially, he got lots of baby socks and then didn't wear knit socks for a long time, but now he's into them again, which is good. So this was sort of my trial pair. So for a size 27 EU, which is that a 9.5 UK? I have no idea. All the shoe sizes in different countries massively confuse me. So I did 52 stitches on my regular sock needle, which is a 2.25 US size 1. I think I did 20 rows of ribbing, 25 rows of leg. I then did a heel flap and gusset heel, and I think I had 45 rows from basically where you pick up the gusset stitches to when I started the toe. And what I found is these fit, but they have stretched with him wearing it, which partly might be the yarn. It's just a sort of superwash merino nylon. This is a one-of-a-kind colorway from Hedgerow Yarns from 4, 5, 6 years ago, from ages ago. I think it might easily be 5 years old. It's really pretty, but they have stretched out a bit. So I was thinking originally I would make 52 stitches rather than 48 because obviously I want him to be able to wear them for a long time. But I am quickly realizing that I think for the next pair I'll go down 4 stitches because realistically he's not going to be wearing them for a long time because I can see already now he's only worn them maybe once or twice. And he must be his father's son because my husband goes through his socks really quickly. And he's like, these look like my socks when I've worn them for 2 years will sort of look like this. So I am quickly learning. I think I just need to knit him socks that fit him now and not that will fit him in like 1 or 2 years time. So yeah, next time I'm gonna go down 48 stitches. I think might be better. And in terms of the length, I also made them a tiny bit longer because again I want him to be able to wear these over socks. But maybe I also overdid it. I think I just can't. I tend to oversize everything for him, but with socks it doesn't make too much sense. So they're fine, but the next pair I'm gonna make a little bit smaller, I think. But they're really cute. I love them. And I did get some Christmas yarn for myself. And he got really excited. Now he wants Christmas socks too. And the problem is that these weigh 35 grams, meaning that I know I could knit socks out of 65 grams of yarn, but I can't make really long socks out of that. I like my socks long, and especially my Christmas socks. I know I could be doing contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes, but I don't want to. I want my Christmas socks, like completely Christmas socks. And I also just, the last few months I've been slowly giving away and destashing all of my minis so I don't have a huge collection of contrasting colors to go with. So what I've decided to do, I think, because he deserves Christmas socks and it would be cute, right? The pattern that I use for the heel of the sock is the Pearl Soho Toddler socks, which are really cute. And what they do is they have basically a ribbed, what's it called? Is it called a leg? Like basically to the heel, they just have a ribbed cuff, which looks really cute, and they do it in a contrasting color. And again, I think that looks really good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig out something that I can pair with my Christmas yarn, and he'll get like a 2-colored sock with contrasting like leg, and then the foot and heel and everything will be in the Christmas yarn, and that way we should both be able to have matching socks, and they'll be, because I'm not buying 2 skeins. Yeah, so that should work. That's my plan. I just need to go through my stash and cake up my Christmas yarn, and we should be off, because I'm really excited. To be fair, I was really excited to make Christmas socks for myself, but now every time I knit, he's like, Mommy, why are you not knitting on my Christmas socks? So yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I think that's all I have to say about socks. I feel like I'm missing something. So again, yeah, the heel is from the Pearl Soho Toddler socks, but essentially it's just a heel flap and gusset heel. Yeah, something else was in my mind, but it's gone. Yeah, should we stay on the topic of socks really quickly before we get into more exciting things? I finally have made some progress. I am almost finished with these socks, and honestly I should just finish them and then I can cast on my Christmas or my toddler's Christmas socks, because these I have been knitting for a while. These used to be my sort of meeting and F1 knitting because I needed plain stockinette for both. The yarn that I used for these is from another UK dyer who is What Mustard Made, who is Tracy, I believe. And they're really fun. It's just really crazy colors. I think they're a bit more saturated in real life compared to what they're showing up on my screen, at least. I'm not sure if she still does this, but she used to have a bird sock club. So bird are all her like crazy speckly neon colorways in different sort of shades. So I think I was a member for maybe 3 months, and this is one of them. So they're basically club colorways. They're non-repeatable, but she has similar vibe sort of yarn in her shop all the time. I think this is a BFL sock yarn, and I know lots of people like it, but I keep coming back to this kind of base and not really enjoying it. I think that's why I didn't really work on these too much. It feels like these have taken forever. I just prefer a sort of rounder yarn. But they're pretty. As you can tell, I've made a relatively long leg, and that is why my whole like sharing a skein of sock yarn with my toddler son doesn't work. And for the second one, I think last time I showed these to you, I had maybe done like 3 rows of the rib. So I have done the leg, I've done the heel, and I have actually started the toe decreases. So I need to sit down today and finish these. There you go. That is a little bit of sock progress, because I feel like knitting on socks. I just don't feel like any of the socks that I have on my needle. So I think I'm just going to cast on some new ones, because I don't know, life is too short. Next up, I have a really exciting new cast on. So you may or may not know, I used to not be a regular tester of patterns, but I have test knitted for other people in the past, and then I haven't done it for years. Definitely since I had my son, because test knitting just comes with an expectation and a schedule, and I'm a fast knitter, so usually it wouldn't be a problem, but the idea of knitting to a deadline always stresses me out, because what if like something happens? What if I can't finish? Which I know isn't a big deal, and designers aren't monsters, but I haven't done any test knitting for years. But when I saw Sophie, who is the Knit Pearl girl, come out with a colorwork test knit on a 17 stitch gauge, I was like, yes, I can do that. Like, that is something that will go very quickly, and I really like her patterns anyways. This is not sponsored, by the way. I think I have her first sweater pattern in my library, which is sort of a simple raglan sweater, but it has either brioche or fisherman ribbed sleeves, which I think is really pretty. But yeah, I generally really like her aesthetic. I just haven't gotten around to knitting any of her patterns. So I thought I would apply to do the test knit, and I think you get 3 of her other patterns for test knitting once I'm done, which is great because I want to knit a couple of her designs anyways. So it's a colorwork sweater. It's called the Saltburn Sweater. And I did a swatch. I really wanted to do this from Stash. She uses Sandnesgarn Peer Gynt. I think at least one of them is the tweed one, which I so want that yarn. I so want to knit a sweater in it, but I decided to be good and use Stash. So what I've used is Holzgarn Holz Super Soft held double, which usually I've done Holz Super Soft held double before, but I knitted to a 19 stitch gauge, so I was a little bit nervous knitting it to a 17 stitch gauge, so 17 stitches per 4 inches would be too loose, and it is loose, but I actually really like it. So I've blocked this and I think it looks fine. It doesn't look too tight. I'm just used to too loose. I'm just used to knitting it tighter. But yeah, this is on a 5mm needle, and I got perfect gauge, and the fabric is so nice. I love it. I love it so much. So yeah, Holz is just magic. Like, it's weird to work with. I don't love knitting with it, but once you wash it and wear it, it's just beautiful, and it's, again, very affordable. So what I'm actually doing, should I get that? Hang on. Excuse the crinkling. Last year, one of their sales, they had these packs of, what do they call it? 1-color bags. So these are all like tiny little balls of Holz Super Soft, and per bag, I think you get at least 200 grams, which, because Holz has such great meterage, if you had it single, like, that would pretty much, depending on gauge, be enough for me to make a sweater out of it. And these were really, really affordable. I don't know, like maybe €9. I'm making this up, but like, I remember these being really cheap. So I stocked up on a couple of like basic colors. So the color I'm using for this is Holz Super Soft Nougat. And I'm holding a double. So I have 2 bags of the cream, and then I'm holding it with a charcoal, which I think is Oxford, but don't quote me on that. Pretty sure it's Oxford. So yeah, how many hours can I talk about a gauge swatch? I have actually knit the yoke of the sweater as well, so it's going to get more interesting, I promise. Because look! How pretty is this? I love it. I love it so much. This is why, like, I saw this sort of graphic yoke, and Sophie chose similar colors to mine. And it's like, yeah, like, this is so wearable. And I think I've been talking about how I've been, for the last year pretty much, wanting to make more neutral black and white sort of sweaters. So I made the Islander, which was gray and black. And again, like, this is going to be so wearable. I mean, I love colors. Of course, you can tell, I love colors. But in terms of a sort of more, I don't want to say capsule wardrobe, but yeah, this will be so easy to just wear with anything, and I love it. So as you can tell, it's a top-down colorwork yoke. So I've done all the colorwork, and then I have picked up and knit the double knit collar, because I don't know, it looks so much nicer once the collar is on, and then I stop doubting myself whether it's going to fit. So I've attached that, and now I'm just working on the body. So yeah, I really like it. There are short rows in the back. I cannot comment on the fit yet because I haven't finished it, clearly. But so far it's been pretty smooth sailing. The only thing I missed is you're supposed to change to the contrast color on like the inside of your rib, which is kind of cool. Although I would wonder if it would shine through where I then, sewed it down. But it's a cool feature, and I just didn't read it because I was doing some training at work and knitting on this rib. But yeah, I love it. Will comment about fit and everything once I'm done, but I'm really enjoying it. and I have obviously put quite a lot of knitting time into it. I sort of challenged myself to knit the entire colorwork portion of this knit in one weekend, and I did. Just about, but I did it. Yeah, so there you go. And this is going to be so much nicer once you block it. Like, not sure if you can tell the difference, but like here you can really, like, the stitches are very defined and they don't look as nice, but I think once you block it, like, this has been washed. Can you tell the difference? I think it's beautiful. So yeah, very excited about this, and also very excited to be knitting from stash, which I should be doing more. Next up, talking about knitting from stash, is my Stephen West mystery knit along, which is the Geogradient. So I am still on clue 3, but if you haven't seen clue 3, if you haven't seen the finished shawl, you don't want any spoilers, do look away, but I am well behind, so I think I'm not really giving anything away, so I'm going to show it now. So yeah, let's talk about the shawl first, and then I'll talk about the yarns. It's getting big, and all of these ends have been woven in except for 1 or 2. I just have to snip them off, so don't be alarmed by the ends. But yeah, this is where we are. Look at it. Isn't it pretty? I love it. I love this shawl so much. I think this is my favorite Stephen West mystery knit along, which I know is a little bit lame because it's not as adventurous as some of his others were, but I just feel like this is exactly what I like. This is so my jam. So this first square is clue 1, and then for clue 2, which is these eyelets, I really like them. I think they're really pretty, and I use some Suri alpaca for the sort of creamy color, so this is really nice and drapey. I went for a Suri there instead of a mohair there. And then you have these little triangles, which look so small, and they took so long. Like, they're beautiful. I love how it looks. Look at that. But it takes forever, especially the first one. I feel like now I've kind of gotten into a rhythm, but you really have to be careful with your tension because it's a lot of slip stitches, and if your tension isn't loose enough, or like if it changes over time, it's just gonna, like, it's not a very stretchy fabric anyway, so it's definitely going to show. But yeah, so I had to push myself so much to work on this, and now I am trying very hard to complete my second half, which I think I started yesterday, but I also spent a fair amount of knitting time on this, and it just goes on forever, but it is really, really pretty. So you can tell the sort of shape. It's almost triangular, and then it has like a funny shape at the bottom, and yeah, I love it. Look at that. I don't know, I just love it so much. In terms of clue 4, I might not do clue 4. I mean, clue 4 is pretty, but I'm also kind of done with it, and I'm trying again to just work on things that bring me joy, and I'm not sure if I want the clue 4. So what I was thinking, because it's like in some parts of the rows you have over 1,000 stitches, which is a lot of purl stitches, and I just don't have the knitting time that I used to have, so I'm being more selective. So maybe I'll do clue 4. Maybe I just won't do any clue 4, because I think I'm gonna block this out, but I think it's really pretty. It's got a good size. I don't mind the weird shape at the bottom. Like, I think it'll be fine. I don't care. So I might just wear it like this because I think it's perfect as it is. Or the third option that I am thinking about, and apparently other people have been thinking about the same thing, the clue 4 is basically, I think it's like a sort of, is it a dip stitch? It looks a little bit like a bubble sort of, like, it's really cool. It's really pretty. And I was thinking, it doesn't look too different to crochet. So I know some people have been doing like fancy sort of shell stitch crochet things, but I'm thinking I could just do like a couple of like granny rows, which I think, like, it's not going to be the same, but it's going to be much quicker and it's going to be a similar result. And I think if, you know, if you're going to be creative and do your own thing, like Stephen West Knit's Stephen West Mystery Knit Along is the place and time to do it. So stay tuned. I don't know. What do you think? Should I do some like crazy crochet? Should I just leave it? I haven't decided yet. But yeah, that's where we are with that, and I just love it so much. I think I've just like chosen the perfect sort of yarn combination for me, which is again from Stash. I'll go through the yarns in a second, and yeah, I love it. I love it so much. This may be my favorite mystery knit along yet. So yeah, the yarns that I'm using are again all from Stash, and they're all British yarns, which makes me very happy. So should we go from dark to light? This is the Never Ending cone of JC Rennie Super Soft in the Smolder colorway. Talked about this a million times because I keep on using it. It just never runs out. I'm also using another color of JC Rennie, which I don't know the colorway name, sorry, but it's another cone. I am using by Laxton's Sheep Soft, which is another 4-ply British yarn. It feels different. I would reckon, is there Massam or Gotland in here? Possibly Gotland. Like, it's got a very different feel to the other ones, but it works quite well. And then this is Woolly Knit Morning Frost in their British wool, which again, I've used this for a million projects, including this sweater, which, yeah, you can tell I have mended it once. But again, I just keep using it. It's a great color. It's marled. I'm not sure if you can see it. My camera might not be picking up on it, but it's beautiful. And yeah, I like all these 4 colors. All of these were cones, so it's a very affordable project. I've just wound off a bit of each cone because it was getting really hard to work on 4 cones and like you're changing the colors all the time, and I wanted it to be a portable project. So there you go. And I think that is it for my knitting. So if you're only here for the knitting, sorry, I do only have some crochet and live chat left to talk about because I did want to bring out my blanket again. I'm drinking tea, by the way. How crazy is that? Yeah, so last week, I think, or like 2 weeks ago, I showed you my Dahlia blanket, and I think it has grown quite substantially. So if I show it this way, yeah, can you see? I think I was sort of in the brown/yellow last time I chatted to you, and yeah, I've just been going on it. I still love this project, and I mentioned earlier that I didn't really love the yarn, which is Stylecraft Special DK, but I am starting to like it because I've basically been using this as a blanket while I've been crocheting on it, and it's really nice. I mean, we've had the acrylics versus wool versus cotton discussion many times. I'm not going to go into that. But yeah, I do like it. In fact, I like it so much, I have planned another blanket. Of course I have. Because once you're like 2/3 done with a blanket, you have to plan the next one, right? Like, it is a rule. Yeah, so it's quite wide. This is the Dahlia blanket by, I can't even put it in this, it's too wide for the screen. But it's the Dahlia blanket by Attic24, who is Lucy. It's a free pattern on her blog. And she has patterns that correspond with yarn packs, but I'm using a different yarn pack. So the Dahlia pack was like a red, yellow, orange, pink sort of shades. And this is the Dune pack, which had a different stitch pattern. But yeah, I sort of started off using her color wash option, but then rearranged the colors a million times. Like, I keep rearranging them, but I think I have my order decided now. So as you can tell, I started with like creams and pinks and then faded into the yellow. And yeah, sorry, I'm showing you the side with all the ends. They're all crocheted in, you just need to snap them off. And I've now started, this is silver, but I feel like it's already sort of bluish. And now I'm going to be fading into duck egg, sort of minty, turquoisey blues. And I haven't decided, depending on the length, I could also in the end fade into like a lavender kind of color. I haven't decided on that one yet, but yeah, so we're definitely onto the blues now very slowly. And yeah, I just crochet the ends in as I go, because otherwise I would go insane. And then in the end, I just snip them off. And yeah, I love it. I love it. I'm using a 4mm hook, and the fabric of this stitch, it's just really lovely. Like, it's flat, But yeah, I really enjoy it. I really like it. How many more times can I say it? I'm not sure. So yeah, that is what I've been working on, and I love blankets so much. And a while ago I was like, maybe I'm being ridiculous, like I've knit and crocheted so many blankets, do we really need many more? But like everyone in my house loves blankets, especially my husband. Like he keeps stealing them, and then we're downstairs and there's no blankets because he takes them upstairs to work. And so I think I'm just gonna keep making blankets, because also I work here. This is my sort of office / yarn attic, and it's very cold up here. We don't have central heating going up to the loft. We have a little like electric heater, so it's fine. But blankets are handy, so I'm just gonna keep on making them. And now my son is like, are you gonna make a blanket for me? So I think, yeah, the blanket obsession is going to keep going, which is good because I really enjoy them. And also, like, I've donated a couple of blankets. Like, they're great gifts. They're great. Like, and everyone needs a blanket, especially in a cost of living crisis. So, yeah, no shame. Alright, you guys, I think that is pretty much it for this week. Maybe in terms of projects I didn't work on, I have finished my first MCN sock and just, I can't do it. Like, I need to cast them on, but I haven't done it. Still slowly working away on my value study scarf by Pearl Soho, but it's just driving me nuts. It's so slow, and I'm 3/4 done, over 3/4. Maybe I'll force myself to work on it during F1 today. I'm not sure yet, but yeah, can't face it right now. And I also desperately need to cast on my son's cowl, which I showed you the yarn for last week. I think the cowl and some socks need to happen today, which is good because yesterday I was basically solo parenting, so I didn't get any knitting time, but I'm going to catch up on knitting time today. And then I've actually taken a day off next week of work, and so has my husband. So we have a couple of days off together, which I hope will translate into some prime knitting time, because I want to make all the things. I'm really inspired. I just lack the time. So yeah, that is basically what I've been up to in the last 2 weeks. Otherwise, it's just been like work and having a toddler. And then last week, toddler had to stay home from nursery, but we still had to work. So that was a great juggle. Anyone who had to like deal with small children during COVID, you have so much respect from me, because I have no idea how you did it. It's crazy. So yeah, that's basically what's been happening in our little bubble. Toddler made a pumpkin lantern last week. He's been going to all the birthday parties. I think now we're all done with all of them, which is good, because there's only so many 3rd and 4th birthday parties that I can deal with within like 4 weeks. So now every night we have to put a candle in his little pumpkin, and he loves it. He's so excited, which is cute. I mean, I'm not a Halloween person. Frankly, couldn't care less. But, you know, I'm happy to go along with a pumpkin. I also love, you know, eating pumpkin stuff. So there we go. Yeah, that's basically it. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope it wasn't too disjointed. I also feel like the lighting isn't great because I have 2 like big windows here, but it's just such a dark day today. There's nothing I can do. But yeah, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be back with you soon, hopefully with lots of new knitting content, because I just want to knit. I want to do nothing but knitting, really. Yeah, so thank you again. I hope wherever you are healthy, you're safe, you have some yarn to play with, and thank you so much for watching. Take care, happy knitting, bye.